I don't even know what to say, except this is a group of pure, unadulterated commitment. I'll tell you, just being willing to show up and push yourself through all the things that look like they weren't happening. Amazing. We all, we don't even need to say much more because you're already very aware and very awake. But for those of you that may be joining us that didn't know that yet, today is August 19th, 2021, and this is an Eventbrite meeting, and we're speaking about out of the pain and in with the joy. What's so terrific about what has happened, and for those of you that may be listening to this replay, what occurred is that the links weren't correct in the mail outs, and then it was asking for a password, which it's never done before. So we've had a little bit of an adventure here. And for those of you that are not with us right now, please know that you bypassed something that was exciting, adventuresome, and such a learning experience for everybody. So one of the things everybody can do right now is just look and see how you felt inside, and let's get rolling. Some of you know me. My name is Isa Tease. When my daughter was little, she always used to say, he's a tease. And if you remember, the E is long and the A is short, then it's T, like a drink, Isa Tease. But if that's too complicated, just call me E for easy, because it's much, much easier. So I am a coach, a mentor, I've been a teacher, I've been doing retreats and seminars and all different kinds of things. I'm an international speaker and lots of things. Maybe I'll talk about that later. But the bottom line is, I'm really honored that you are here. I am very, very excited, and I will let you know that to the degree that you're willing to let yourself just let go and engage will be the degree of the riches that you will take away, because this whole time together is for you. Whatever you receive, whatever you experience is all over upon yourself, depending upon what it is that you would really like. I invite you to stay very aware of what the precious little mind might be saying. That's really weird. Way out of my comfort zone. I don't believe that. I've heard that before. You know, it's very busy. You know, it just doesn't know how to just take a nap. So if that occurs, just become the amazing observer that you really are. Today, I really want to speak about pain, because most people, many people, they don't even know they're in pain. And I'm here because I have achieved a place, acquired a place of happiness. You know, I feel really good about myself, my life. And I know I've worked for, well, I'm not going to tell you that because it might be discouraging to all of you, but it's been a really long time. And what I also know is things have sped up on the earth at such a high level that people are waking up, getting more awareness about how to experience and be the joy that they really are in a way that has never really occurred before. So one of the big benefits about being here is you're going to learn how you can finally be happy in every area of your life. And I'm going to speak about today how to recognize that you're in pain, and there's a little technique that I'm going to give you. It's a proprietary technique. I also am going to give you some beginning steps to get out of pain, and how you stay out of pain, and how you can make simple shifts that will take you from the pain into the joy, so you can really rediscover, if you will, who you really are. And what does that mean? It means that you are that sweet spot that everybody really wants, and we're running to go get it. And what we don't realize most of the time is we're searching somewhere where it already is. So it's kind of funny once you really get it. So I have a gift for you when you stay to the end of my presentation. And I really want to support you in writing down any questions that you may have as we go along, because we're going to do some questions and answers. And I also want to invite you to notice when you think it's a yes or when you think it's, I don't really get that. Really, really be okay with asking questions and feeling whatever you feel, because there isn't any good, bad, right, or wrong. And every time you're willing to open up and give yourself permission to speak, you help so many other people. And we want to do that whether we know we do or not. We just have to bypass the idea that our personality might feel embarrassed or whatever it'll do. So when life becomes so full, we obviously don't recognize it so much. In fact, what most people do is they think it's normal. It's just like, oh, well, yeah. They think that that's the way that we're meant to live, and it isn't really, but we have learned to adjust to it. And when we think that's a normal way of life, then many times people don't even want to or try to step out of the place where it is that they are, and they don't need to be. When I speak to people, I really am with people that will say, oh, well, I'm used to that. I don't really need to have anything change because it's something they become accustomed to. But after I really speak for them a while, they realize that what they thought was pain was not really the pain that I was referring to, because pain comes in so many different flavors. Pain could be labeled as resistance, because the minute we want to do this, we're feeling a tension. We're experiencing a stress in our physical, mental, emotional, even spiritual body, whether we know it or not. And so pain has a definition that isn't just necessarily, oh, I smacked myself, I cut myself. It's so much more than that in the context of which it is that I'm speaking. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. But let's get on. I want to share with you someone who has had an experience, and this is what she had to say. She's one of my clients, been known this woman for over 20 years now. She is an amazing being. And she said, she was controlled by her old beliefs and her old stories. And she reached a place where she recognized that they weren't true. She didn't have a clue what to do about that. They were old beliefs like, I'm not worthy, I'm not loved, I'm not lovable, I'm just not enough. And many times, as with her, this thing that was developed in our minds came through childhood, because we can acquire these belief systems from our DNA, from our familial upbringing. Our DNA programs a lot of things that came from mothers and great grandparents and all of those people down the road. We don't know we have that. We didn't really have anything to do with it, if you will. So when we worked together, she is really recognizing that she has a lot of clarity now. And she is open, feeling confident, and she's used the tools that she had to create a life that's very different. And some of you know who she is. Those of you that knew her when I knew her, you would not recognize her. It's quite profound, actually. So this masterclass is for individuals who feel unhappy. Now, some people go, I'm not even going to put energy on unhappy. So take that with a grain of salt. Unproductive, invisible, or maybe you don't have any idea how to address your sense of resistance, conflict. Maybe it's that empty feeling that you have inside. Whatever it is, you're in the right place. And maybe it's for those that are, maybe this is you, which is Maybe things are not really going the way you would like them to be. Maybe you'd like to have more money. Maybe you'd like to be a better communicator. Maybe you'd like a relationship or a better relationship, but you just don't really know how to do that. So it's also for people that no matter how much success, no matter how many toys, how much money, any of those things they have, they still feel like, is that all there is? What is this empty feeling that I'm searching for all about? Well, this is also for people that have endlessly tried to be happy and still stuck in the same place. I got to tell you, I felt this for a very, very long time. I was breaking my booty trying to do everything every teacher, every book, every video, everything told me. And I felt like I was stuck. It felt like it was never going to end. So it's also, I would say it's almost primarily for people that really want permanent happiness, because we all have little bits and pieces of happiness. But how many of you can say that you are really permanently happy, in joy, that the world could blow up in front of you, you could lose your best friend, your partner, any of those things, and you would be able to take a breath and you would know in your heart of hearts, not that you wouldn't feel grief or some of those things that you go through, but you would still be able to see, feel, and know the experience of whom it is that you are, which is happiness. I mean, that's the joy. And this is also especially for people that want a deeper connection and a sense of not being alone or lost. So a lot of people that are, and they don't know what to do about it, or they've tried stuff and it just doesn't work. It's also for anybody who wants to be happy in their relationships, their jobs, their careers, with their health. We all have stuff, we do. And all of these things that are going on are ways that are going to gift us, that are gifting us, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes too, of how to recognize what the gift is. What's the real message that's going on? So this work is not for people who are unwilling to make an investment in themselves. Investment means time, means energy, means focus. It means staying committed to doing whatever it takes to really get what it is you say you want. And it's not for people who are not willing to take a deep look inside themselves and do that, whatever it takes, to see things differently. Notice, see things differently, because one of the key pieces is shifting the perception. Our perception comes from childhood, all the things I was just speaking about, the belief systems that we've acquired over time. And that's one of the key pieces that will bring you closer and closer to the joy of who it is that you are. It's also not for people who are not willing to be really honest with themselves. You may not want to tell other people, which is actually, when you speak whatever you see to someone that it's safe with, so to speak, it's not going to judge you because they know, like myself, been there, done that, and there's no room for me to judge. But if you are not willing to at least be honest with yourself, then change is not going to occur for you. You can't get out of the pain if you're not willing to do something different and not be in pain. Because if we keep doing the same thing, we know we're going to stay in the pain. It's also not for people that have a closed mind or think they have all the answers. I know nobody on this call can be that way, because I know you wouldn't come looking, seeking, investigating, doing your best to learn what it is that maybe you don't know. So today you're going to discover 4 key pointers. The biggest hurdle to finding real joy and a way to be happy. I'm going to speak about that. I'm going to speak about where the pain really comes from, which I sort of barely touched on. I'm going to speak about where to begin and what to expect along the way. So we're also talking about hope, answers, and direction. And you're going to leave today with knowing that you're on the way to personal empowerment, knowing that you have everything in you to be happy beyond your wildest dreams. It's really there. I speak about myself probably more than you would like because I know this thing. I mean, I used to think this all the time, but I have a proven framework that helps anybody get into depth and connection into the joy. And you're also going to find a clear understanding of what your next step is to be free of pain. And that taking one little something from any of the things that I speak about has the ability to change your life forever. So please do not underestimate, if you're not like getting everything right away, or you're not remembering everything to the T or whatever. Find one thing that you walk away with today that you know that you're going to use to make your life different, or you're going to think about change in your mindset, if nothing else. So there are some house rules. Okay. I'll be honest with you. Most of you who know me know that that's a given. And then you agree to be honest with yourself. Don't believe anything I say that doesn't feel right for you. What fits and leave the rest. There's a little caveat to this one, and that is that when our personality / ego, I use them interchangeably, when it gets scared, it's going to go, this doesn't feel right. This person's not going to tell me that I am resentful or I'm mad at somebody or I did blah, blah, blah. So be very aware of when we have an immediate, you say, well, what if what she's saying had a possibility of being true? Stay open, stay with it, stay with you. At the end, if it's truly not a fit, fine, no problem. That is not something that you need to do. So at the end of the day, how much action you take, how much you take from what it is that's being said, how much action you take is up to you and only you. I am here as like a guidepost, I can point, go this way, but you get to be the one who says, oh, I'm going to go this way. Nah, I think I'll go this way. That's up to you. And I'm going to give you the pointers and set you off in a direction if you choose to. And ideally, we could go arm in arm. We go arm in arm, or we can, be together down the pathway. But even if I never spoke to you again after today, you have the ability to have a life that is worth living, the one you really love living. So we don't do any. I was at a conference once, and the person had a big circle. She was somebody who worked there, and inside the circle it said no whining. Oh no, it said whining, and then there was a big line through it. So I just thought of that right now, and it says no self-pity parties allowed. What that means is we're not victims, even when we think we're victims, even when we think someone has beaten us to the pulp, if you will. That is absolutely seemingly true, but I'm going to invite you to open the door to, well, what if I wasn't a victim? Maybe there's some gift here for me. See, the truth is, I know who you are. I totally know who you are. I understand the human condition. I really understand. I have been spending years and years and years studying how the mind works, how humans work, how the programming of the ego and the personality works. And it's because of these things that I have a really important, if you will, thing that I want to do. So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like this? Do you feel like nothing that you do, or not everything that you do or accomplish, brings you consistent joy? Have you ever done something and then had the thought like, I'd done that differently. I wish I'd done that better. You know, that little judgment voice that comes in. I see you, Avina. I haven't forgotten you. And when that occurs, what we're doing is we are lowering our attitude, our self-care, our self-love, if we even have it at that point. But the real question is, have you ever felt that way? It's just real simple, yes or no. I don't know anybody would say no, but you could be the exception. Are you meeting your goals and aspirations? And are they really, really bringing you joy or happiness? In other words, you succeed, everything looks great, you make that money, you finish that project, and then in 20 seconds, 20 minutes, you're looking around for, okay, now what can I do? I know there's got to be something more. I need more to make me feel like I'm more. Or do you feel trapped in a pretty much ongoing little voice saying, na, 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 you didn't do it enough. Why didn't you look at that before you did this? How come you said that when you know that person's going to do this? Why did they say that to me? I mean, this voice is really massive. Do you have one of those voices? You know, this is a time where you go, oh, yeah. So the more you can acknowledge these things are part of your life, even if it's just a little bit, that's when you have the ability to start really letting go, because we cannot let go of what we do not acknowledge. Our personality, our ego wants us to pretend that none of these things are us. But I have a news bulletin. We all are everything. We are what has been judged as the good, the bad, the right, the wrong, the ugly, the sweet, the pretty, the ugly, the fat, the small, the little, the skinny. It doesn't matter. We are all those things. And what keeps us separate from our joy, big key here, what keeps us from our joy is that we want to pretend that we don't have any of that going on for us. And the second part of that is maybe we'll say that, yes, I do, and we beat ourselves full of pulp with it. So either way, you do not come out really ever so happy. Are you with me so far? Anybody who's with me, you know, what do they tell people to do? Put a 1 in the chat and tell me if you're with me. Am I making sense to you so far? And in doing so, it lets me know, first of all, that you haven't fallen asleep. Secondly, it helps me know that you're really responding internally, because this is about you. This is about being awake, intentional, and aware of whom it is that you are and what it is that's going on with you. Because if you don't have awareness, you're not going to be able to get to the joy, because you're too busy resisting or being unconscious about the things that are there, asking for the invitation of what it is that's really, really going on. So thank you guys. Thanks so much for putting that in there and letting me know that you're kind of with me, because it's nice to see a face or two in there and a smile. And many of you don't have your cameras on. So I see Michelle's smile, but it's her picture. And I see Elaine's smiling face. So all of the rest of you that don't have your cameras on, which is okay, I appreciate you participating, so I know that you're with me. So have you ever felt like you were disconnected, maybe in any of your relationships? Right this minute, is there any relationship that you can think of that you would like to be, or you would like to have improved upon? Is there anything that you feel with anybody you know, dead or alive, that you feel you would like to have that be shifted? If you're a yes, just be honest with yourself. Be a yes. This is just, the more we allow ourselves to not hide anything, because the ego, the personality, always wants to hide. It'll put it way deep in the corner, and it'll pretend that it's not there, because that's what keeps you disconnected. So is there anything that you feel trapped about? Do you feel like you're in an endless cycle of those judgments of yourself and others, and it just kind of comes on really, really strong there? And is there anything that you do lately that makes you happy to your core? And maybe yes. And is it something that stays with you permanently? Because this word permanent's like a real big thing. And it is possible. I have to tell you, it is really, really possible.
Sorry, but you're breaking up so terribly. I hate to interrupt you, but you are breaking up so bad. I raised my hand, but I cannot hear you at all. You're like breaking up like almost every word. It is terrible.
Are you guys, is anybody else hearing me break up badly?
No, you're perfectly clear for me.
Thanks, Camilla.
That's awesome. I'm sorry, but for my phone, for some reason today, you're normally clear, and you were just so breaking up so bad for me. I don't know if it's my connection or if I came in clear. I guess I'll leave and just try to come back in. I don't know what it is, but it is terrible for me today.
I'm glad you burst in, because I think it might be the internet on your end. If anybody else is having difficulty, please raise your hand or put something in the chat, because if it's my internet, for sure, I want to do something about that. Usually for me, I get a little sign on my screen that says unstable. Internet is unstable. So if that is not happening for me, but I need to know if we're not getting a clear where it's so thank you for letting me know. I'm a little sketchy, but it could be my phone. Pretty clear, not experiencing that. Okay. So Avina probably has a poor connection, and maybe for the person that was on their phone, it might have something to do with that. And if anybody feels like they need to hang up and see if you can get in a little bit clearer, if you will, then feel free to do that. But do keep me updated. And I was on a roll there, so I didn't want to stop the flow. And when Avina comes back on, Raphael, you're going to watch for her, I know. If anybody has a question, and we'll say this when she comes back, you can write the question in the chat as well. And then Raphael, you can somehow let me know that it's there. Okay. So we were at, is there anything, now we already know that what we do makes us perhaps happy for the moment, but maybe it doesn't even make you happy for the moment, but permanently. And this has been something that this was one of the big ones for me. Do you think you're happy and yet you know there's something missing? I have been through many, many phases in my life. I've been very, very, very poor. We've been pretty darn wealthy. I have had what seemed like the ideal life. And I've had the kind of life that people would write about in books that I won't call them horror stories, but not all that much fun. Bottom line is that regardless of what was going on, I always had this awareness that there's an empty yearning. It's like, I need to learn more, be more, feel more, get more connected. I don't even sometimes know what it is. That's what I would say to myself until I did. But the bottom line is that is what many people have felt. And if you have, just take note of that inside yourself. And another one, boy, this is my transparency. When I was younger, I was jealous. I was a really jealous person. I was jealous that people had really great relationships. I was jealous that they looked prettier. I was jealous that it didn't matter. I was just jealous about everything. Because I felt so unloved inside of myself. So when we have that, we know that it's because we are not in a place where we really want to be. So the last little piece I'll ask you here is, and this is another tell the truth to yourself thing. Do you see things half full or half empty? Just be honest with yourself. When something comes up, are you seeing it half full or half empty? Well, I've been speaking about this already and being very open about it because I know how all these things feel. See that car right there? That's my car. And I have been in a place of not very much fun. This was a car accident that I had, and you can't see the rest of the car. But what happened is I was driving down the road and there was a bend in the road and I didn't navigate that so well. I hit the curb, my car went airborne, and the car flipped over on its, well, went through the telephone pole, flipped over, and then the telephone pole fell on top of it. I went through the windshield. I didn't get all the way through. If you look there on the screen, you'll see that was my head that hit there. And I had a lot of really serious injuries. And I was I slept upright in a hospital bed for 3 months. I was in a wheelchair for a year. You know, I experienced a lot of different things. My relationship ended. My daughter freaked out. You know, the bottom line is that's just like one story of things that go on. And I'm going to underline the word story because at the time, of course, I didn't see this, but now I see, oh my gosh, what an amazing storyline. And I've had lots of different difficulties. We probably couldn't count how many relationships I've been in and out of. I'm really glad that I'm here now. Raphael, whose other name appears to be Isatis Stutchner as well, but I've been in and out a few of those, and they haven't always been as much fun as they could be. So I know about divorce. I know about loss. I know about physical pain and suffering. I know about emotional and spiritual pain that I would be sometimes crying on the floor in an embryonic position because I just didn't know how to go on. And I prayed every day until I was 33 to die. I did not want to live in this world. Really, really unhappy camper. So I want you to know that all these things that I'm speaking about, Raphael, did you let Avina in? Because she's trying to get in the room.
She's in.
Thank you. It still says she's waiting. The bottom line here is I am not speaking from a book. I'm speaking from my personal experience, and that's why I'm so passionate about what it is that I'm speaking about, because I know there's a way through the pain. And what I've learned is that pain is the gift. Pain is the gift of being able to help us see more clearly about who we are. And it doesn't matter where the pain comes from. It can come from relationships. It can come from physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever it is. It is the gift. And we'll talk some more about that. So yes, there's absolutely light at the end of the tunnel because none of this is your fault. It is made to be the way it is. We didn't get an instruction manual. Well, I didn't. And if you guys did, please PDF that to me because I could use some support in retrospect. And I know that we are all doing the best we can based on what we know and how aware we are in any given moment. But here's the little tricky part. We don't know what we don't know. I just didn't know what I didn't know. And there are a lot of external influences that seem like they are going to be the thing that makes me happy. Until I learned that, yeah, that wasn't it. And it was at that point that I reached a place where I said, okay, there's got to be something else. And I started passionately looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. So did you know that over 90% of an iceberg is below the water and we never see it until it's too late? What else can't we see in our own lives? No matter how aware, or how much book knowledge, no matter how much you think you have there, I can tell you that no matter how awake anyone is, it's a never-ending adventure, never-ending. And we do reach certain places in our journey of self-discovery that help us realize that we can keep on going even when we feel like we can't keep going. So let's talk about getting to the root of our pain. There's so many factors that contribute to our life experience. And underneath all the stories we have about what's working and not working, there's two principles that are very important. And they show up, these principles will show up in your relationships, your jobs, your finances, anywhere you want to look. Any moment will show you what's happening. So first, there's everything that's happening in our lives, the things I was just talking about, that we think should be different. Now, think about this for a minute, because anytime, let's take today as an example. Anytime, like with this meeting right here, the links don't work, wrong one was sent out, this was happening, that was happening. Anytime there's a resistance to that, that's when we look at this first one here. We think it should be different or it could be better. Our minds will say, well, heck yes, it could be better. We could have gotten the right links. We could have, whatever it is. And from one perspective, that's true. But that wasn't the point of the experience. The point of the experience is to inflict a little cattle prod to see how malleable we were going to be. How resistant do you want to be? That comes up as a gift. So the gift is the pain. The resistance is showing you where you want things to be different. And this is what happens. The ego pops up and it starts telling you all this stuff. And it starts telling you how to make it different, how to be different. And it won't stop there. It'll tell you exactly how much problem the other people are. They should have known that. Why aren't they professional? What's going on with that? The judgments will come, and the criticism will come and go and project and all that kind of stuff. People, it's not over there. It isn't. It's right here, because there isn't anywhere but in here. Energy never leaves its source. That means that whenever we're judging someone else, whenever we're criticizing, we are taking what doesn't feel good in here, we're putting it over there, so we think we'll be able to deal. But you know what? We don't. We think temporarily that it's all on them. But guess what? You're going to find it's going to come back around again with a bigger, louder voice, because it's a boomerang. It's like, oh, I don't have my there. I have a little paddle with a little ball and that rubber band, and it goes and it always comes back. That's exactly what energy is. Any judgment, anything that you like or don't like, it doesn't even matter. Good, bad, right, wrong. You can make up whatever you want. It's not going to be any different than what it is that was in here. The trick is we don't usually see that. So that's why the work that I do that I love so much is discovering what it is that is pretending that it's over there, because that's what's in here. So I can unload or unwrap something more. So, and then the second thing is that beneath this iceberg, there is that unfulfilled longing that's hard to recognize. It's our spiritual connection to our true self, or God, or spirit, or divine, or whatever your word may be. And these are two really, really important principles to understand. So who am I? We've kind of talked about this a little bit. You know, as I mentioned before, I know what pain is on every level. And even to this day, I have an amazing amount of physical pain, but I have physical pain. Okay. I don't resist physical pain. Physical pain is whatever it is, just like life is whatever it is. I've done all the things that I'm speaking about. And my story about being very empty and crying to die, that was the yearning of the sense of incompletion that I was having inside myself. And we're all in some degree of pain. And the pain is the gift. And you become much different with your perception once you have that clearly understood. So, you know, I'm a visionary, spiritual mentor, expert in the human condition. You know, I'm a nurse practitioner, board certified. I'm a leader in personal self-development, self-discovery. You know, I've been doing this stuff for a really long time. I mentor, I coach, I do seminars, I'm a public speaker, I've written a book. You know, I've done all these things, and none of them ever made sense. Did a lot of things. It's just, you know, a touch of the things that I've done. And I know that every one of you has an amazing history of accomplishing and achieving or acquiring or expanding or blah, blah, whatever it is. You may have 12 more little things behind or in front of your name. Did that make you happy? Has that given you permanent peace? Do you feel whole and complete in every single moment? Just a question. So what do? I help people discover a deeper spiritual connection so they can live fully awake, empowered, free, and without pain or suffering. I'm not big on suffering as I was growing up, so I made it like my mission to not suffer, which is what has helped me wake up to the degree that I have. And so that's what I want to turn around and help other people do. Because with my mission to awaken people to the awareness of how to live in the eye of the hurricane, that's really fun for me. It means that I am living in a place where the world is happening and I'm not in it. You heard the term, in the world, but not of it. I want to talk about Tisha for a second because she was one of my clients, and I had her write a story about her life, what she really wanted, what the emotions of what it was that was really, really important to her. She was very unhappy. And now, as you can read, I'm married to the man, I live in that place and headed towards abundance and fruitful relationships, prosperity, feel at peace 95% of the time. That's pretty good. Utter faith and trust spiritually. I'm so blessed to have you in my life. You are a good one. Thanks for being the wonderful you. She's a beautiful woman in so many gazillion ways. And she was really open, ready, committed, whatever all those words were. And here's Ginny. Ginny is another, and her little pup, Princess Harmony. She says, I've met many teachers, seminar leaders, and ministers as I've traveled the road of self-empowerment and spirituality over many years. I've known and studied with Satish for 15 years, and she's always the same, wonderful, inspiring, on stage and off. She has seen me in the dirt. And she practices what she teaches, and she lives her life as a shining example of how we can be, do, and have what we want in life. I highly recommend her retreats, webinars, and programs offered on her website, guaranteed to make a difference in your life. There's lots and lots of people who have written lots and lots of things. What's important is what you feel that you want. So I'm just going to give you an option to look at this. We do not have time to talk about it today, but it's a little proprietary thing that I teach. It's called the T-STAR awareness technique, and it's thought, story, trigger, awareness, and reframe. This is one of the things that when I work with people in groups or one-to-one or whatever, we go very deeply into each one of these things. And especially due to where we were and how we got started, we will not be going deep into that just right today. So let's talk about key pointer. Number one, awareness and self-discovery. They're essential to finding joy. I've spoken about it a whole bunch already. Awareness, 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 awareness. I have to have awareness because when you don't know what you don't know, you're not aware of what you don't know. And if you're not aware of what you don't know, then you don't know to do something different. So it becomes very clear. Awareness. So that then becomes important. So the reason this is important is because we cannot fix a problem or address a problem if you don't know that a problem exists. These problems, these pains we have, these conflicts, they come from thinking that is in an innocent place of ignorance. Innocent ignorance is what I call it, because how can we be mad at ourselves? How can we judge ourselves? How can we judge anybody else when they don't know what they don't know? I mean, are you going to scream at a kindergartner because they can't, answer the trigonometry question? Well, they probably can these days, but in the past, some of us wouldn't have been able to do that. And it all comes back to that. And when we can't see what we can't see, then that's when the support of helping us see what we can't see becomes very, very important. So key point number 2, resistance is the cause of all suffering, or put another way, resisting what is going to keep you where you are. You are not able to solve a problem. You are not able to have awareness. You are not able to experience joy or happiness on a daily, moment by moment basis. Can't happen. It's not possible. And when we have pain, if we have physical pain, for example, the physical pain causes emotional pain, and the emotional pain creates stress, which wears the body down, which causes more physical pain, which causes us the more emotional pain. The spiritual pain is, where's God and why am I not being helped, or whatever your word is. It becomes a cycle, and it just keeps going around and around. And our work as humans is to break that cycle, put something in the midst of that so the continuous way of thinking, the concepts, the beliefs, and the things that we've been living under, they shift. We have the ability to replace the old with the new you. It does take persistence. It does take commitment. It does take follow through. That's why in a few minutes, I'm going to ask you a little something about that very thing. So resisting what is the true cause, and it is a core belief of separation. And separation is where our biggest pain comes from. We have the belief system, and we've convinced ourselves that we're not whom it is that we really are. We think we're all these things that we see in the world. We are not what we see in the world. Everything in front of your eyes is a pretend world. It's a dream. It's a movie. It's a play. It's a game. Call it whatever you would like. And as you become more and more aware, some of you I know this. This is just where we're playing out what the true source of whom it is that we are has created, this little adventure called life. Once you get that, oh my gosh, you'll have so much fun. I was coaching someone this morning, and we were talking about this very thing. And so I was bringing something like this up, and he said, "Tatis, I know what you're saying." And he immediately went into a little conversation with himself about how he he wasn't being arrogant, or he was saying, I know this stuff, and I just want you to know that I'm doing this because blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, so what are you observing right now inside yourself? And he stopped and he said, closed his eyes for a minute. And he said, oh, let me back up 1 second. He said, what I want you to do is I want you to do this, this, and this in our coaching. And so I said, okay. And that's when I said, so what are you observing? So, because he gave me the whole thing. And I said, okay, so what are you observing? He said, I'm observing that I'm really trying to be controlling now. And I want you to be the way I want you to be, so I don't have to look at what I don't want to look at. And I went, because he didn't see it until he saw it. And once he saw it, it's like he made a whole new commitment to himself and to our working together. It was like so awesome. It was just a very, very fun thing. So I definitely know that when we're resisting, we're making up stories. Number 3, begin with the basics. So I'm going to give you I'm going to give you one very powerful tool, and all of the things that I'm speaking, hopefully you're taking as tools, because the more you get how life is, how the personality works, the more profound your experience in your life will be. So to get out of pain, let's have an understanding here. To get out of pain, we have to change something, and change is often more uncomfortable than dealing with the pain. Does anybody resonate with that? Is the fear of change sometimes seemingly more bigger than the actual change itself? Is it the unknown that you might be afraid of? So let's go back and put your little ones in a thing, or a Y, or a yes, or something. And what I'm asking is, have you ever felt like it was not so much where we might go, it was the fear of going there. It was the unknown. And that created more discomfort than the actual shift. This is important to recognize, because the more we unveil, or we unveil, is that a word? Unveil the parts where we're hiding, that's when we make changes. And when so like that you are the one who is holding yourself back, then you will be able to see that it is the natural state of the personality, the ego, that wants to keep us from acknowledging that it's okay to step into the unknown, because the unknown, ego has no control there. Remember, the ego's job is to be in control and make sure in its own way, trying to keep you safe. Well, I have a news bulletin. What it's really trying to do is keep itself safe so it does not lose a grip on you and the way you think and how you do life. That's its job. It's okay. We're not going to kill it or get rid of it. We're just going to be able to see it and actually strip to the point where it doesn't control us. So the unknown is terrifying to the ego. So I'm going to give you 5 little steps, and Raphael will put this in the chat for you, hopefully. But whenever you have any type of conflicting feeling, or any time you'd like to feel calmer, and you would like to elevate or change your perception, number 1, drop into your heart. That means take your focus and put it in the center of your core. Number 2, take a breath. In the middle, take a breath with your focus in the center. Then as you do that, as you're breathing, let the body really relax. Do this now, if you're willing to do so. So you take a breath, You drop your focus into your heart area. You take a breath deep. As you exhale, let your body fully relax. And then you can ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? Just observe it. No judgment. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It really isn't. It's just a story. It's just going on. So just notice that. And then nurture the part that is upset or frightened. And you can literally do that by just like petting yourself, hugging yourself and saying, it's okay. And when you do that, your entire physiology will change. Your entire everything will change. And that is really, really important, because when you make that shift, you are telling the universe, if you will, that you are no longer willing to be unconscious. You are willing and committed to putting a cog in the wheel of recycled ignorance. You are willing to think differently and feel differently. And that's a very, very important thing. So here's number 4, key pointer. Ups and downs. What to expect? When you say yes, it's going to go, yoo-hoo, I'm ready, unless it doesn't, because it'll be one of the 2 polarities. We live in a polarity-based system. So it's going to be easy, maybe. And then all of a sudden, everything unlike the, oh my God, this was so fun. Oh my God, no, what? Look what happened. And then all the stuff that we've been maybe not paying close attention to starts coming up. And it's that moment that the support is so critical, because this is the part where we want to fail. We want to get out of Dodge because we were feeling so good. Now we feel so bad, unless we don't, but we usually do. And then you'll feel bad. And if you are supported, you will be able to lift your awareness to the place where you can really see what's going on, and you will elevate your viewpoint to a higher level, which is going to give you the ability to truly relax into yourself. And then you'll start feeling good again, and you'll feel a little more confident. And then maybe something else will come up. And when that occurs, then you will have an opportunity to do the same thing. This process is an exciting journey of self-discovery. We're discovering where we've hidden all these little blocks, all these little shadows that we think aren't okay. I have to tell you, they're awesome, because when you get, oh yes, I am a witch. I am so loving. I am so grumpy. I am so happy. I am all of these things. And you are. And when you get to the place where you just know that's what you are, it means that you're not living from your ego. It means you're not living from your personality, because only the personality is going to care or judge or think that all those things are something that need to be resisted. Remember, resistance is the cause of all suffering. It will want to get you back there, because its hallmark is let us suffer. You know, maybe you've heard, let us pray. Let us suffer. Let us go back into the pain. Out of the pain, people, into the joy. It becomes a perceptual reality, and you have that inside of you. So, as I said a few minutes ago, everybody needs a coach. We have a coach. I support people in having a coach. You need some kind of support if you really want to go all the way up. What does that mean? Having a support from somebody who's been there, done that. Having a support from somebody who is objective and doesn't judge. Most people will go to their friends, their neighbors, their sisters, brothers, whatever, and they will be there with such an honest desire to support you. But keep something in mind. They can only see from where it is that they are. They don't know what they don't know either. So when you find someone that really does, then be around that. Be around people that are higher vibrating, if you will, that think differently, that find the vision and the passion in life. Listen to YouTube videos that come from some of the greatest teachers out there. There's many of them. Read the books that when you read it, it's like you want to gobble it up because it's like, oh, yeah. And you'll notice that as you're reading, you'll be more passionate about reading something else or being around people that are like-minded, and you stay with those people, stay in community. That's why we do meetup on Tuesday nights, because it's a community where it's a no games, no bullpucky kind of thing. We're there to look straight at ourselves, and everybody gets to do whatever they want with that. You want to judge yourself, you want to judge somebody else, go for it. But we will not tolerate, if you will, anybody making anybody wrong. And that's an important piece. So that means that we all have many, many blind spots. Pick somebody who's got the fewest amount of blind spots or no blind spots as possible, and hold yourself accountable for what it is that you see. Don't expect somebody else to save you, rather guide, point, or direct you. And stay awake about the stories that you're making up, because your stories are creating the perception, and the perception is adding to your pain package or removing from your pain package. It's important to understand the principles. So I want to tell you about Dan, because I love Dan. A lot has changed for me since you and I spoke last. I have gotten so much negative energy out of my life since then. I felt so much better. I feel so much better. I can breathe easier. Even my girlfriend has noticed. He's now married. I have changed up my diet to only healthy foods, working out and going to yoga because I'm more in tune with myself. The teachings you have taught me, I am using them and they are working. At first, I would say I was in a fog and a haze from life. Now I have clarity, not just from energy, but from understanding. It's very delicate to explain the feeling. I am truly thankful for what you have taught me. I apply it to my life, and I'm getting better every day with profound gratitude. Dan and I are still working together, because every layer he goes, he wants another one. And it's very powerful. So here's what's possible for you. Love this picture. See that little space in the middle? That's called the eye of the hurricane. And the eye of the hurricane is where everything is still. That's the peace. That's what's in you. That's who you really are. So when you are aware that you live in a frenzied, chaotic world at effect of everyone and everything, you can live in the peaceful eye of the hurricane, unaffected by the fury going on all around you. And I got to tell you, from one perspective, this world is doing a good job with showing us chaos and everything else, unlike the eye of the hurricane. So it takes a lot of conscious stability and presence to not get caught up in what the world is going through. So a life of peace and acceptance with everyone, anything, no matter what is going on, that's being in the eye of the hurricane. Having connected, intimate relationships where you don't have to be defensive and you can really be yourself, that's living in the eye of the hurricane. You can have all the money or the toys in the world, but you don't need them. You don't need them to be happy. And you can find and live your purpose and passion without being attached to the outcome. That's a really big thing. And there's you know, there's so much more. This is where you get to make choices. So the question is, what do you want? You can write in the chat to me privately or to everyone about what you want. Putting it on paper, so to speak, is a really helpful thing. And if you're afraid to do that, then know that there's a little part of you that is living what it is we spoke about a little while ago, the fear of the unknown. Oh my gosh, if I say that, then it might be true, because there is a word of caution. When you say what it is you want, you're going to get it. But everything unlike it, anything that's in there, is very likely going to be brought to the surface. And we have and the awareness of how to really, handle that, so to speak. You will find that the fear won't stop you, and you actually will not. You'll make.
You just went on mute.
Oh, I thought it was me.
Okay, thank you for telling me that. All the buttons went away. So what I was saying is something I'm sure really great. One of those
It
things.
was just the last sentence that got muted.
Okay, so the bottom line is that when you are able to live in a place of peace, you live your passion and your purpose, and you are not attached to the outcome. And so the real question is, where do you want to live? In the hurricane, out of the hurricane. The world is the hurricane. We know right now the world is showing us everything unlike what it is that we think we really want to have occur. And that's not going to change. I have to tell you, people, you are not going to be able to change the world in one fell swoop. We only change the world by changing us, because our view of the world is what changes the world. So the question then is, what do you want? And that's what I was speaking about, is that you're going to have things that might show up when you say you want it, because it really, really does happen. And when I realize now the last sentence I said was that you make peace with fear, and then there is no fear. So here's your question. Do you really want to change? So I want to support you, and putting between 1 and 10 in the chat, private or not, how motivated are you really to change? No good, no bad, no right, no wrong. Nobody's going to judge. And if they do, remember, energy never leaves its source. So they're just judging themselves. So let them go. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to be in joy, in happiness? How much do you want to change? How motivated are you? And so after you answer that question, then on a scale of 1 to 10, are you willing to do what it takes? Most people at this point will say, I'm willing to do that. Absolutely. I'm a 10, I'm a 10 plus, I'm a 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Wait, you mean I have to think differently about that? You mean I can't blame people for what they did to me? Be aware, because that is the key. That's really the key. It isn't really what it is that we think it is. It's way more. We're talking about a life that's truly beyond your wildest dreams. So I just want to ask you to look inside right now and ask yourself, if you don't do something different now, what's going to happen? what is it going to cost you, so to speak? You know, what will continue? What will happen to your time? Do you think your time's going to get any more efficient or feel any better? But do you think if you want your money part to change, that it's going to just change magically? What about your health? Every time you're in stress, every time you're in resistance, it affects all these things. It affects your time, it affects your body, it affects your finances, it affects everything. And what's it going to cost in regard to your relationship and your family? Because you know what? When you aren't happy, those people aren't going to seem happy either. If you really want to help people, help yourself. If you want to change the world, change you. You know, there's that guy that said, we have to make a slide about this, Raphael. And that is, be the change that you want to see in the world. It's up to me. It's totally up to me to make my life be what I want my life to be. It's totally up to you to have your life be exactly what you would like it to be. And I know for me, I wasn't able to do it alone. And pardon my expression, hell or high water, nothing and no one is going to stop me. And I've said that more times than I've said my name. Nothing and no one will stop me. Because I knew that I was not going to exit this lifetime until I was in that eye of the hurricane and living there. And then for me, it was about helping other people do the same thing. So there is a family, emotional, physical, time, you name it, it all is going to be affected if you do it and if you don't do it. And you may always be wondering, whoa, what if I had done it if you decided not to? So here's the key pointers again. Raphael, I don't know if you have a way to write these in the chat or not, but if not, all of you can write them down or take a screenshot or just come back and listen to this, because Raphael, you're going to send them a thing of this. Okay, great. So key pointer number one, let's just go over them quickly because I know you guys are very patient. Awareness and self-discovery are essential to finding real joy. Number two, all pain comes from resisting what is. 3, begin with the basics. 4, expect the ups and downs of the journey. Are we ready for happiness? I mean, I am. And because you stayed to the end, I am offering a free one-to-one call with me. And Raphael's going to put that link in the chat. And if you would like to speak to me, we'll just have a chat. When you go to that link, it'll give you a calendar and you can set up an appointment when it works for you. And we'll explore options for what support you want and what it is that you can do to move yourself through the place where you may feel like you're stuck. And if you want any help with your game plan for your life and what is your next step, and it's going to make a difference that will be forever, you will be forever grateful for. Things will be very, very different for you when you give yourself permission to take this next step. And if some of you have already scheduled a call with me, absolutely, yes, you can schedule another one because you're here and I am in such gratitude for you being here. And if you haven't, just come and let's chat. I'm not going to like drill you or anything. I'm going to be here to support you. That's what I'm here for, is to support you because I know what it's like to walk on the hot coals. I know what it's like to be outside the eye of the hurricane, and my hair really got blown. In fact, it's never recovered. You can tell. And there you go. Book a free possibility call. It's in the chat, and there is the link again. That's an underscore, people, possibilities underscore call. which I hope is the correct one. And thank you for being here with an open heart and an open mind. Just remember to always say yes to self-discovery. And if you have questions that you would like to ask now, and it's not too late for you all, for those of you that have to leave, my sincerest apologies for this starting so late. We got to learn a lot ourselves. We got to look at how we want to be with what is without resisting. And we really gave me an amazing opportunity to be with some very, very special people. And I'm so grateful to you all for being here. I just like being with you. So schedule a call so we can at least chat and get to know each other. And maybe there's something I can support you with. So does anybody have any questions right now that they would like to ask? And it can be about anything. And Raphael did put my email in the chat. It's also on the slide. Anybody want to say anything? Anybody still awake?
I'm still awake.
That's good, Marilyn. I appreciate you letting me know you are there and alive. This is good. Avina, I'm sorry this was so sketchy for you, and you'll get the link. So please, listen to it, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it clearly, because it will not be, it shouldn't be sketchy, because other people were not having so much of the sketchy piece.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that very much. So thank you.
I'm so glad that you were here. So Consuelo or Christina or Manishka, you guys have anything you want to? Michelle, you guys want to contribute, share, complain, ask questions, anything that you would like? This is the moment.
No complaints. It was very helpful and very thought-provoking.
Great.
Thank you for sharing.
You're very, very welcome. I know that the things that I speak about can be a real mind stretch for people. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you all have the wherewithal to stay all the way to the end, because that's a big deal. And especially if you're hearing things that you have never heard before, or it's like so foreign, it doesn't really even sink in, don't even know what to do with it. And and you are all entitled to come to our meetup on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. And I'm not sure if we do not have, Raphael, you want to tell, is the link you just put in there the meetup link?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Michelle, the meetup link is in the chat, and any of you that don't have it, please just click on that. You can come and check it out and join us. It's really fun. Right, Marilyn? Right, Elaine?
Thanks for the link.
Right, correct.
Right.
Just a word about that. We have a core group of people like Elaine and Marilyn who come literally every week, and we have such a really core, solid community. Come check us out. I think you'll enjoy it.
It's just a fun place to be, to hear, to raise your vibration, to create more introspection, more self-discovery. And I'm really appreciative. Avina has come. It's at 6 p.m. on Tuesdays Pacific time. 6 p.m. Pacific time. And if you go to the link that he put in there and you register, then you'll get an email and it'll tell you what I'm speaking about. But it doesn't really matter what we're speaking about, because it's just a place to come and raise your vibration, clarify your mind, ask any questions you want. It's just more of a dialogue. It's not like this is this today has been me just speaking and going over some specific things. On the meetup, I speak for a little bit we usually do a centering, like a little meditation for a few minutes. And then we talk about whatever the subject at hand is. And then we just kind of open up, and people that want to ask questions or share whatever it is, they do that. So it's easy, it's casual, it's about an hour long, and you're always welcome. And if for some reason you have difficulty with the link, not that that's ever happened before, but if by chance it could happen, please feel free to email me or text me, or I think most of you have my phone number. You are welcome to do that. I would love to connect with you. So anybody else with anything else? Okay, then we'll call it a wrap. And I just appreciate you. I love you guys. And I really acknowledge you for being here tonight. It took the warrior in you all that made it here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you guys on Tuesday, hopefully.
Have a good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody.
Love you guys. Every one of you.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Got it?
Consuela, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Where are you from, Consuela?
Originally from Kentucky. I just moved back from back to Kentucky from Florida.
Okay. Cool.
Beautiful. Well, you
Yeah.
have a beautiful evening, and I hope that we get to connect again.
Me too. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Bye, Consuelo. Take care.
What do you, I'm gonna go up and eat something. How about you?